Good morning and welcome to PFL's weekly market update. We hope that everyone had a fantastic Easter and had some time to spend with family and friends. I'm Curtis Chandler, President of PFL. Let's get into what we know. Equity markets had a strong week last week. The Dow up 1,338 points. The S&P was up by 214 points, and the NASDAQ was up by 931 points, all finished solidly in the green. In overnight trading, Dow futures trading flat and are expected to open down 1 point from Thursday's close. Crude also had a big week. WTI surged $11.42 on Thursday of last week to close at $111.54 per barrel, up nearly $11.90 per barrel week over week, with NYMEX futures trading above $100 for the first time in many years. Crude stocks built 5.5 million barrels and are 0.1% above the 5-year average for this time of year. Gasoline drew down 600,000 barrels and are 4% above the 5-year average for this time of year. Distillates dropped 2.1 million barrels and are 3% below the 5-year average for this time of year. Propane was the standout and was up 4.1 million barrels and now are 71% above the 5-year average for this time of year. That's a big surplus as we head into summer injection season. Have no idea where all the surplus propane is going to go to. Maybe some rail cars at some point. If the spread works, we can definitely help with loaded rail car storage across North America. WTI is poised to open up at $111.49 this morning, down 5 cents from Friday's close. Total North American weekly rail volumes were down 1.22% in week 14 compared to the same week last year. 6 out of AAR's 11 major traffic categories posted year-over-year increases. The largest decrease came from forest products, which was down 14.84%. Worthwhile noting, CP posted a week-over-week decline of nearly 28.65%, with forest products down 69.66% for that carrier. The North American rig count shed 6 rigs. The U.S. was up 5 rigs week over week, running at 548 rigs. Canada was down 11 rigs week over week, with 142 active rigs. International rig count, which is reported monthly, was down by 54 rigs month over month and down by 37 rigs year over year. Internationally, there are 1,058 active rigs out there. Now, here's what we're watching out there for you last week, folks. 5 weeks into the Hormuz closure, nothing has changed. WTI is above $100. Americans are over $4 at the pump. 2 more vessel attacks hit last week, and vessel transits are fewer than 15 per day from 138 pre-war. OPEC Plus agreed on Sunday to raise oil output to 206,000 barrels per day for May, a modest rise that will largely exist on paper as its key members are unable to raise production due to the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran. The President will have a press conference at 1 p.m. today and threatened over the weekend to blow up some power plants and bridges tomorrow if Iran does not open the strait today. See PFL's rail report for the full picture. The WTI differential has blown out enough to put Canadian crude by rail economics firmly in the black. The constraint is available railcar and producer reluctance to commit to long-term leases, not the spread. Hormuz is also driving a fertilizer supply emergency right as North America begins its planting season. Ammonia is up to $170 per ton since February, which is up nearly a third. Railcars carrying anhydrous ammonia, UAN, and dry fertilizers are in peak demand with zero slack. PFL works with fertilizer shippers to structure capacity through exactly these peaks. The BP Whiting plant lockout enters into its third week with 800 workers off the floor. It's concerning a few people. It's 400,000 barrels per day with no resolution in sight. With diesel prices above $5 nationally, nobody needs a stumble here. See PFL's rail report for further details. Ottawa missed its April 1st pipeline deadline with Alberta 204. Conditions still unsolved. The private sector is not waiting. South Bow and Bridger together represent over 1.2 million barrels of potential new southbound capacity. See today's report. On a side note, the left-wing Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney started to take away certain guns from Canadians. The provinces of Saskatchewan and Alberta are not cooperating. The EPA's E15 waiver takes effect May 1st, opening up nationwide summer sales through September, cheaper by 28 cents a gallon. California's LCFS credit bank is now in deficit, improving rail-delivered ethanol economics from two directions. PFL helps ethanol shippers structure mid-continent to West Coast rail logistics. Finally, the proposed UP-NS merger is drawing STB heat over the 30% traffic increase in Houston. UP must refile by April 30th. Significant long-term implications for Gulf Coast crude shippers exist. We'll keep you posted. Well, that was last week's, folks. This week, I'm sure will just be as interesting as the president's deadline is up and the Strait of Hormuz may or may not reopen. Good luck and be safe out there. For storage, leasing, subleasing, car cleaning, repair, flaring, scrapping, nitrogen generation, and transloading services, please call PFL today. Please share this report if you find it valuable. Until next week, I'm Curtis Chandler. Thanks for listening and thanks for reading this week's Rail Report.